The Arabs that first came into Africa, of the Arabic civilizations, they, and I have to specify here, I am not talking about Middle Easterners. I'm talking about people who identified as Arabs. They, somewhere in 400 to 500 AD, started spinning into Africa in a bigger way than ever before. There was obviously earlier influx, but this one was a big one. And by 900 AD, they pretty much were mapped out the entire area. And so they had multiple names for Africans. They separated the Africans, in which that's their thing, their problem. But let's specify. One, they had a name called Sudan, which meant negro, but it mainly referred to people living in the Nile Valley rather than the entire black population. The second word would be Abyssinians, which generally referred to Ethiopians of the country of Ethiopia or that general region. And of course, these Ethiopians, some of them were found in Yemen, as I will show in other videos. And thirdly, there was the word Zanj. The word Zanj was not a word that denoted all Africans, even though any of these words were mistakenly used by other authors. But it generally referred to the Bantu people of East Africa. And at this point, there was some very strong racism against the Zanj people. The Abyssinians were not always liked as well, and the Sudanese were not liked as well, but the level of despisement or disgrace or hatred for the Zanj was at its height. But this was not the only group of people called Zanj. There was a word called Eszanj. Eszanj referred to people of India because of their similarity of skin color to the Zanj. Now, here's something that the Arabs realized as well. They realized that the Zanj weren't as dark as the Sudan. And so some of these Zanj people referred to their skin color being dark was not taken as the blackest skin color you can get. Some people want to deny the racism of the Arabs against the Zanj people, but this is actually very evident within the writings of many of the authors of the day, and this is only one of their readings. This reading is taken from the book written by Abu al Hassan Ali ibn al Hassun ibn Ali al Masudi. He was born in 896 AD and died in 956 AD. And so this book should be taken as in that region of time before 1000 AD. And he wrote this in his book Meadows of Gold, or Muruj al Dahab. And so we read: mountains and borders on the empire of Eszanj, which is the kingdom of the Maharaj, the king of the islands whose dominions form the frontier between India and China and are considered as part of India. The Hindu nation extends from the mountains of Khorasan and Sind as far as Etabat, but there prevails a great difference of feelings, language, and religion in these empires, and they are frequently at war with each other. The most of them believe on the metaphysics or the transmigration of the soul. The Hindus are distinct from other black nations as the Zanj, Edaman, and others in point of intellect, government, philosophy, color, appearance, good constitution, talent, and intelligence. Galen says that the Negroes have 10 qualities which are particular to them and not found in any other nation: crisp hair, scanty eyebrows, expanded nostrils, thick lips, sharp teeth, stinking skin, black complexion, fissures in the skin of their hands and feet, longum mentalum, and great levity. The same author states further their levity is owing to their bad quality of their brains, for this renders their intellectual faculties weak. What other authors say on the levity of the Negroes and their gay temper, and on the still higher degree of levity which is peculiar to the Zanj, and which distinguishes them from other Negroes, is to be found in our former works. Yaqub ben Ishaq el Kindi asserts in a memoir on the influence of the higher individuals and heavenly bodies upon the world that God has arranged it so that everything that he has created acts at same time as cause upon others, and the cause produces an effect in the object upon which it acts, which corresponds with the cause, but the object which is passive does not create any impressive upon the cause which is active. Spirit is the cause of heaven and not its effect. Hence, it does not receive impressions from it. It is, however, a law in nature that the spirit follows the organization of the body. If there is nothing in the way, so it is with the Zanji, his country being very hot, the heavenly bodies exercise their influence upon it and predispose in the humors a tendency to go to the upper parts of the body. Hence, their eyes are large, their lips thick, the nose flat and big, and the head high. The crasis of the brain is therefore out of proportion, and the mind cannot perfectly manifest its actions. The nicety of distinctions and the action of the understanding are confused. Ancient and modern authors have spoken on the causes under the influence of which the Negroes are placed, and they entered upon their position relative to heaven. The seven planets, and particular the five planets which preside over their development and have alone influenced upon the formation of their bodies. But this book is not solely devoted to this subject. We state here only the facts as they have been advanced by various authors, referring for further details and the exposition of their arguments in proof of those facts to our book, the Akbar ez Zeman. We have also explained in that book the theory of those astrologers and astronomers who ascribe the character of the Negroes to Saturn, as this is expressed in the verses of some modern Mohammedan writer. One of them, the planets, is Saturn, who is an old man and powerful king. His complexion is black, and this is the color of his dress and of his sulky mind. He exercises his influence upon the Zanj and the slaves, and to him lead and iron are sacred. Tawu el Yemeni, the companion of Abdullah bin al-Abbas, would not eat any meat slain by a Zanji. He used to say a Zanji was a hideous slave. We have heard that Abdul Abbas Radi ben el Mokda would never take anything from the hand of a black man, saying he was a hideous slave. I do not know whether has initiated Tawas in his system or in a sort of philosophical and religious sect. Amr bin Bar el Jahid wrote a book on the national pride of the Negroes and their disputes with the white man, to contrast all the hate that has been written in these passages, detailing several people that the author himself has seen writing and stating and behaving in a racist manner. And of course, the writer himself is racist. But to go against all of this, we should remember Ubu Utman Amir ibn Bahir al Kanini al Bashri, who wrote about the Zanj from the Zanj's point of view. And he said, on the Zanj, everybody agrees that there is no people on earth in whom generosity is as universally well developed as the Zanj. These people have a natural talent for dancing to the rhythm of the tambourine without needing to learn it. There are no better singers anywhere in the world, no people more polished and eloquent, and no people less given to insulting language. No other nation can surpass them in bodily strength and physical toughness. One of them will lift huge blocks and carry heaven loads that would be beyond the strength of most Bedouins or members of other races. They are courageous, energetic, and generous, which are the virtues of nobility, and also good tempered and with little propensity to evil. They are always cheerful, smiling, and devoid of malice, which is a sign of noble character. The Zanj say that God did not make them black to disfigure them. Rather, it is their environment that made them so. The best evidence of this is that there are black tribes among the Arabs, such as the Banu Sulaim bin Mansur, and that all the peoples settled in the Hara besides the Banu Sulaim are black. These tribes take slaves from among the Ashban to mind their flocks and for irrigation work, manual labor, and domestic service, and their wives from among the Byzantines. And yet it takes less than 3 generations of the Hara to give them all the complexion of the Banu Sulaim. This Hara is such that the gazelles, ostriches, insects, wolves, foxes, sheep, asses, horses, and birds that live there are all black. White and black are the result of the environment, the natural properties of water and soil distinct from the sun, and intensity of heat. There is no question of metamorphosis or of punishment, disfigurement, or favor meted out by Allah. Besides, the land of Banu Salim has much in common with the land of Turks, where the camels, beasts of burden, and everything belonging to these people is similar in appearance. Everything of theirs has a Turkish look. In the 10th chapter, the first author details the Swahili coast, and he says estimates have been made respecting the extent of the Indian Sea, which is identical with the Abyssinian Sea. Its length from the most western part of Abyssinia as far as China in the east is 8,000 miles, and its breadth is in one place 2,700, and in other 1,900 miles, for it varies in different places. These dimensions have been disputed, but we will not enter into the different statements because there are no proofs upon which they rest. This is the greatest sea of the habitable world. It has a gulf extending from Abyssinia as far as Berbera, a country situated between the territory of the Zanj and the Abyssinians. This gulf is called the Berberani Gulf. It is 500 miles long, and at the beginning and end 100 miles wide. These are not the Berbers who live west of Africa in Africa Provincia, for that is a different country, although it has the same name. The sailors of Oman go on this sea as far as the island of Kanbalu in the Sea of the Zanj. This island is inhabited by Muslims and by Zanj who have not embraced Islam. The sailors of Oman, to whom we have just alluded, believe that this gulf, which is called the Berberian Gulf, and with them the Sea of the Berbers and of the country of Jofuni, is much greater than we have said. The waves of the sea are huge, like high mountains. These are blind waves. This marine term means waves which rise as high as mountains, and between which abysses open like the deepest valleys, but they do not break, hence, no foam is created, like that produced by the collision of the waves in other seas. They believe that the waves are enchanted. The sailors of Oman who sail on this sea are Arabs of the tribe of El Azd, and when they are on board a ship, sometimes lifted up by these waves and then again sinking between them, they say verses whilst they are at work, as O Berbera and Jofuni, and they enchanted waves. Jofuni and Berbera and their waves as thou seest them. These sailors go on the sea Izanj as far as the island of Kanbalu and the Sofala low country of the Demdama, which is on the extremity of the country of Zanj and the low countries thereabout. The merchants of Sarif are also in the habit of sailing on the sea. I have made a voyage on it from Soha, which is the capital of Oman,